Hello, I'm Bernard Keevy. Now, a digital marketing audit would be very productive in terms of the results you might find. I've got an example here of what I did recently, very recently. It's an accounting services firm, and basically the revenue was 500,000, 500,000. I've rounded some of the figures, to be honest, but the gross margin was fairly typical for the sector, 88%, and the net margin was 9%. Which effectively meant that their bottom line net profit is 9% of 500k, which is 45,000. Now what we did was we looked at all the various aspects of their digital marketing, and we put it through an algorithm program that we've produced. And this algorithm program puts everything through, crunches all the numbers, and actually works out the effect of doing various things, and it works for any business. So we could have looked at optimizing their website for things like mobile devices, but also for speed of response and for making sure that you follow what we call the conversion equation, which means you're more likely to convert business on it. There's a formula for that. We could have looked at their email marketing, whether they were doing that properly with proper follow-up sequences. Could have looked at SEO, search engine optimization, to make sure that they're coming up on page 1 on searches for appropriate terms. We could have looked at their use of social media, their use of video marketing in all of their digital marketing, paid advertising, again across the whole digital environment, if you like, and also content marketing, producing articles and blogs and making sure that you make the most of those on your website and on various social media platforms. What we did was we only looked at 3 of them. We went through in depth and we worked out how much extra revenue the business owner thought that working and putting those right would make. And what we did was we worked it right down. So they were talking of maybe 20% extra revenue by doing these things. And we said, well, let's keep it conservative and let's just make it 5%. So we thought if you optimized your website, now yours might be optimized, but there's an awful lot of websites out there that are very attractive and very functional, but could be made more efficient in terms of generating business. So let's just say you've got scope conservatively to generate 5% more revenue by optimizing your website. And let's say that you could use social media more effectively. You could have a proper program mapped out and proper scheduling, etc. Again, could you improve your revenue by 5% by doing that? And could you have proper strategic content marketing whereby you produce content on a regular basis and you schedule where it's used for maximum effect in terms of your website and in terms of social media platforms, etc. And that's all we did basically. We just looked at 3 lots of 5% improvements and we said, well, what effect would that have on this business? And what we found was that the revenue goes up from 500,000 to 584,000, and the bottom line net profit goes up by an astonishing from 45 up to 119,000. I think it's about 74,000. It's 164% increase on the bottom line just by making these 5% improvements here. And this algorithm program of ours will show you exactly what to do and how to do it. And I've got people in my team who can actually do these things for you if you're interested. So we also look at metrics and KPIs. So we'll look at things like gross margin, net margin, and the costs of various things like your variable cost, cost of goods sold, etc., and your fixed costs, and see if there's any scope for making improvements there. So you can see there's lots of potential for a typical business to make a big difference to the bottom line. Now, all of this, whatever you do here, needs to be focused on what we call here these business fundamentals, which a lot of people don't do. So you need to clearly identify your ideal target client or customer, your avatar is sometimes referred to. You need to clearly identify what the issue or problem is that they've got on their mind that they need a solution to. It's called a hot button. And if you can then offer to solve this hot button issue for them better than your competitors, i.e. differentiate yourself, then you take yourself away from competition and you innovate yourself, your business, into being perceived as unique or at least standing apart from the competitors. The more you can do that, the more this happens. Now this is called a demand curve, and what this says is that the higher the price you charge, the less you'd expect to sell, and if you lower your prices you'd expect to sell more. And if you're in a price sensitive market, your demand line looks like that, which basically means that a slight increase in price reduces your volume quite significantly. It's called elastic demand. If you differentiate yourself, your demand line looks much steeper and it goes higher up, which means that you can charge higher prices and sell more quantity. So you can see how these extra revenue figures can be derived by following this fundamentals. So you have to get this right, and all of this has to be reflected in here in your digital marketing over here. You also need proper follow-up sequences, because this is called the buyer's journey. And what happens here is that typically out of 100 prospects, 67% of them are future buyers, 67 to 69% of them actually are future buyers, whereas only 1 to 3% of them are now buyers. 30% won't buy. Again, typically you don't know who the 30% are, so really you need to market to all 100. So you need a regular sequenced series of communications, because people won't buy till they've been asked to buy 8, 10, 12 plus times, multiple times. So you need proper sequenced follow-ups, and it's called the buyer's journey. A mistake most business owners make is they try and just sell to the now buyers, and they assume all of these are now buyers, which means an awful lot of people won't buy. Whereas if you nurture them with proper follow-up campaigns, again using social media over here and digital media, not just social media, email, all sorts, but digital media, then if you have a proper follow-up campaign here, you'll end up with a lot more business than if you just try and market to the 1 to 3% over here. So you can see how this works and how powerful this is, and I could do this for your business. If you go to www.bernardkeevymentor.com, there's only one E in Keevy, you could sign up for the Sales Accelerator Roadmap. And basically we spend about 45 minutes to an hour. We go through all these different areas and we look at in depth at what you're doing now, and then we quantify what sort of improvements we could make, and you'll get these sort of results and more. Because here we've only looked at 3 areas. If I'd have looked at all 8 areas, and if I'd have put in the figures that the business owner suggested, we'd have a lot more than that. But then I would have come on here and shown you those figures, and you probably wouldn't have believed it, because it would have been too good to be true. So have a look at that, and you might find it interesting. And I could do this digital marketing audit for you, and furthermore I can show you how to do this for your clients if you wanted to, and you could have access to this system yourselves again if you wanted to. Just maybe book a time to speak, and I can tell you more. Okay, so Bernard Keevy showing how a digital marketing audit can easily add 50% or more to your bottom line, and it'll probably be a lot more than 50%. I mean, if this is typical, so you'd get a lot more than 50%. So thank you very much for watching. I'm looking to recruit a business coach in order to help me handle existing global demand for business coaching services, and in particular I'm looking for someone to run our Northeast US division. If you're interested in finding out more about this opportunity, which involves absolutely no financial risk or upfront investment, then go to coachforprofit.com/Bernard, watch a short 8-minute video, and if you think there's anything of interest there, then book a time and let's talk. And thank you very much for showing interest in this opportunity.